Hey filmmaker, Chung here. So I have the ZCAM E2 as you guys might know, and I purchased the Smallrig ZCAM E2 cage for it. It's a half cage, so it's not a full cage, meaning that it doesn't fully covers or hold it fully in place. So it actually covers the top part. It does cover the bottom part, but the top and bottom is not connected. Let's first connect the bottom part. For that we need to have a coin, so you do need to use a coin to connect it. There is no tool for that. We do get 2 Allen keys for the rest, but for the bottom we need a coin to connect these screws. So let's go to the bottom here. On the bottom here we can see these 2 1/4 holes, and we just align those and we just rotate these in. So one thing you might have noticed on the bottom here, there's actually a plate incorporated in the bottom plate. So this plate is actually an Arca swish. So if you do use tripods with an Arca swish quick release, this is really nice. However, if you don't use Arca swish, there's of course here plenty of holes where you can connect another plate to it. And if you actually don't use like the metal bone speed booster at all, you don't really need this plate or this section. You could just directly mount a Manfrotto plate or any other plate. It's mainly that these 2 holes are needed for this plate or this extra holder or support for your metal bone speed booster. So now assembling the top. So here on this edge here, on the bottom here of the top plate, we can see this notch sticking out. So on the left side we have this plate. So this we connect it to here, and then here on top we have a hole for a screw. So we grab this thin, smaller screw and put it in here. Use the smaller Allen key and we connect it together. So these we best to assemble from the body first, and on the other side, on the right hand side, we need this one. So this has actually the holder or support for your USB Type-C. It's already mounted on there, so you don't need to assemble that. So same here, we have this notch sticking out, and this hole we need to align. So it also connects together. And also here we have a hole where we need to use one of the thinner screws. Put that in, use the smaller Allen key, connect that. So now we have the cage assembled. We can now join it with the camera body. So like this. And then align all the holes. So here the top hole, align it. And on the side here we have these 2 bottom holes. So the top hole actually does not align. However, if you look inside, if there is a screw thread, so that one is actually not one we need to have to align, because we are just only using the bottom 2. It's on the both sides the same. So the screws that we now need to use are these bigger ones to connect the cage to the body. So the first one I add is the one on the top. For this we are using the bigger Allen key. So this one we don't fully tighten it because we want to align the rest first. So here on the side. Now we can fully tighten them down. So tighten this. And over here. So now the cage is attached. We still have a extra few parts over here. So these are for the HDMI. So here on the back we can find the HDMI port, and this is to hold or clamp the HDMI cable. So how this works, we have this notch over here that is an angle in it, and we have this triangle. So when we screw it down, it actually moves in, and then it actually grips the HDMI cable. To make it easy to assemble, we are going to put the screw already through here and here, and we're using these two screws next to the HDMI ports. And again, we're using the thinner Allen key. So now we have the cage fully assembled, and what I really like is that we get actually the support for the USB Type-C and the HDMI, because these two are very important to use. And actually that we get full NATO here on the side, so we can actually easily put a grip on here or any NATO accessories. The only thing is that we don't really get a NATO here on top, which would be nice because there is like a NATO rail grip for the monitor. However, of course, we can use the screw here to screw in a monitor instead. But the only downside, what some people say, is that the bottom and the top section of the cage is not connected. So if you are going to mount it on something very heavy and also have like a grip on top, that might be an issue. However, I don't think that the camera body is that weak, but if you are keeping a much more smaller setup, I don't think that is much of an issue. However, if you are, of course, putting a rail under here and a V-mount and all kinds of extra things on the bottom, and that you need to lift it up from the with a top grip, that it might be quite a lot of load for the camera body or the two screws on the bottom. So let's actually add a few more accessories that I've got. So what I've got here is a monitor mount, so let's mount this here on top, which we're going to use these two screw holes next to this big one to mount. So there is actually a different one that could mount on this bigger hole, but I've gotten for the two screw version here. So get that tightened down. This we can actually tilt the monitor quite easily. So one thing with having this cage, what I need to also talk about is this CFast card slot. So if you might see, there's not that much space to actually get your finger to open this up. So what I suggest actually before you mount the cage to actually have it opened and keep like the slot like half open, so you don't want to fully close this cover. Also here on the other side, the headphone and microphone jack here, you want to also keep that open, so because otherwise it's very difficult to get your fingernail here in between to open it up. So here I've got the wooden grip for the Samsung T5, and here on the bottom there is like a latch. You can keep the SSD in the space between it and that it doesn't fall out. And on top we have here space for the USB cable to come out. And here on the side, this grip, when I bought it, it was actually on the other side. And also you make sure this thumb screw is on this side, on the front and not on the back. Because if you have it here on the back and you want to mount this grip on this side, it would actually hit the USB support here and make it difficult to slide it up. Push this knob in, so this can be pushed in, and we just slide it up like this. Use this thumb screw to tighten it down. So now we have this grip added. So one thing is, if you might notice, if you have this grip on here, you can't really access the CFast card slot. And yeah, personally for me, I feel this grip is too far away from these buttons. At least if it was close, I could use or program this button on top to be the record button, so I can at least press that to start and stop record instead of having my hand leave the grip the whole time. Overall, this cage, it does not block the screen, does not block the buttons here. The only downside is it does slightly block the headphone jack if you add something here with the NATO rail, and it blocks the CFast card slot with a grip here. So overall, yeah, I feel like it'd be nice if this grip was closer to the body and also be more, instead of being only for the 765, be more of a design that I could put any SD card in there. Overall, the rest, I do like having the Type-C support in here and also the HDMI. I might also think they should also add one for this network connector, because that one is also very, very important. And yeah, this XLR for people using audio. But yeah, that might be a whole entire different product to put or support this, plus also an XLR cable somewhere. So that was it, how to mount the Smallrig Cage onto the ZCAM E2. Hope you guys found this a very useful video. If you are new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button here below. Also make sure to hit that bell icon so you're always updated when I post a new video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you the next time. Bye bye!